community, as Doug has said about the Pals Brigades, and then we find out later on in later historical research that children of 15 and 14 and signed up and forged their signatures. So it really is, and it was all mixed up with this wanting to defend the king at the time and want come to the forefront for the king and the empire, and that was what they'd given was really, really poignant, so as we can have our today.
It said on the news this morning that there was a lad of 12 signed up, and his mother found his birth certificate and sent that off, and they got him back.
But it's still, we're still finding,
Yes.
and the historians and the researchers, and it's absolutely, and we should never forget that did unite us as a country across the piece. Whereas, like we've said about the street signs, and it was what they say was an underground movement that was then picked up. And the street signs, there's some research that's gone into it, so to lecture not so long back, was saying that it was a good community movement, but once the papers got out of it, it was to force people then to recruit. There was special meetings of Bilston District Council, as I should say, Darliston, Wednesbury, Wednesfield, Tetnall, about how do the councils encouraged to recruit. Then there was other council meetings going back to the beginning in January about the Zeppelin raids. How do they enforce the blackout? There was never a blackout before then. There was in London, because London was targeted, it was closer, but not in the Black Country. So at every level, there was recruiting at schools. There's minutes of governors' meetings where there's recruiting for 16 and 17-year-olds. And everybody really did have to play a part, especially within war. And they did. They come in the droves to sign up, and the recruitment. And these street signs was a way then that they put people's names in the paper, so there was and outing people to go and join up. There was also a conscientious objection movement through the Quakers in Wolverhampton. So there's all different aspects to the First World War that are still relevant today. We've had, sadly, war after war after war since then, but this was truly a global world war. Like we've said, where our friends and families that was in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, they come in the droves from Canada. And then finally in 16, the Americans did join the war. But it brings it all back. It's local, because we've got people who've fallen today on the Somme that will be on our memorial, and on the memorials in Darliston and Wednesbury. And it's just to keep that, and just to remember what the aspects and the knock-on effects of war entails. So it's solemn, but it's also deeply fascinating, because the community is knitted together. There'd be the town centre, people who lived in the town centre would say, this is our community and this is the men that have gone. And everybody did that in our own communities. Bradley's still a little village, much the Lunt, much Moxley, Darliston. So there's all those little villages, and Doug's quite right, they all went together and lived, laughed and died together. To put it into its context, most of the people locally had never been out to their respective village. A travel to Bilston was something special.
Still is.
Thank you very much for that. And they then would be taken out of this country, away to training up in North Staffordshire, and then off to a different foreign land. It's just the aspects that keep coming from it are just really, really fascinating for me. But the central point is that people did lose their lives, and the casualties that come back that Doug touched on. We're going to ask Roy to come and talk about specifically about the Royal Hospital, the role it played, and the Eye Hospital from the Great War. And there's some artefacts there we can have a look at later. So Roy,
thank you.
if you'd like to